Hello and welcome again to another video dedicated to the most popular gods and goddesses of ancient Egypt. Let's get started. Nephthys, the goddess of mourning and protector of the dead, was the fourth of 5 children of Geb and Nut born after creation. She was younger than Osiris, Isis and Seth, but older than Horus the elder. There aren't many myths about Nephthys. She is mostly known from a legend about Osiris's resurrection, when, together with his wife Isis, she tried to collect body parts of her murdered brother in order to bring him back to life. Nephthys was helping her sister, even though she was the wife of the murderer, Seth. The goddess of mourners was usually mentioned during funeral rituals and associated with death, decay, and canopic jars. But there's one more link connecting Nephthys to grief. Myths speaking about her being barren, although other ancient beliefs present her as a mother of Anubis. Professional mourners in ancient Egypt, hired to lament and deliver an eulogy, were called hawks of Nephthys. It was also believed that the goddess had magical skills similar to those of her sister, Isis, and that the two of them were each other's mirror images. Darkness of Nephthys was balancing Isis's light. Even though she doesn't star in many myths, Nephthys was really popular among Egyptians, and her role wasn't only limited to funeral rituals. Myths teach us about her being called Mistress of the House, goddess of the head of the house and the heir. Her temples were very common, and she was considered an extremely important deity throughout the entire existence of ancient Egypt. Horus, the sky god and symbol of kingship, is an extremely complex character in Egyptian mythology. His roles and forms were depicted so differently over the years that it's very hard to describe the one right Horus. Nonetheless, we know that the sky god lived in 2 main deities. First was Horus the Elder, god of sky and sun, married to goddess Hathor. He was the son of Geb and Nut, which made him one of the oldest deities in ancient Egypt. As the beliefs progressed, he started to be worshipped as Horus the Younger, son of Isis and Osiris, and the opponent of Seth. This change of beliefs created a new myth. Seth, jealous of Osiris's position as a king of deities, killed him, cut him into many pieces, and scattered them throughout Egypt. Sister wife of Osiris, Isis, collected them with the help of her sister Nephthys and breathed life back into her husband's body. Shortly after that, Isis gave birth to Horus the Younger. When Seth found out that his brother is alive and became a father, he tried to kill his wife and child. Isis tried very hard to hide with the baby, but they were finally found in the Nile Delta. While Isis was away from the campsite, Seth sent a venomous snake to bite little baby Horus. When she came back, she saw that her son was fatally wounded and cried so hard that she was heard by a god of medicine, Thoth. He cured young Horus, and as a result made him known as the one who survived a mortal bite. At last, already grown Horus, together with Osiris, defeated Seth and became king. His father, on the other hand, started to rule as Lord of the Underground. From now on, ancient Egyptians saw young Horus as a protector of the royalty of Egypt, defender of order, and avenger of wrongs. Horus was depicted as a falcon, whose right eye was the sun or morning star, representing power, and whose left eye was the moon or evening star, representing healing. Anubis, the guide of souls and protector of graves, is the son of Osiris and Nephthys. His mother, Nephthys, disguised herself as Osiris's wife, Isis, to conceive Anubis. His role included being god of funerary rituals, embalmer, and, during the early dynastic period and Old Kingdom, Lord of the Dead. He was later overshadowed by Osiris. Ancient Egyptians believed in the concept of Maat, which means balance or order. That's why they treated death as important as life, and to help their deceased in a journey to the afterlife, they performed rituals of embalming and mummification. Anubis was helping during these ceremonies. He was depicted with the black head of a jackal, which symbolized fertile soil of the Nile River, needed to grow crops each year. Egyptians believed black color means luck and rebirth. Additionally, it was Anubis's task to weigh hearts of those waiting for judgment. A heart was weighed against Maat's feather of truth. If they were equal, a soul could enter the afterlife. If the heart was heavier than the feather, one's identity would simply cease to exist. Anubis was an extremely important deity for ancient Egyptians because he symbolized the inseparable parts of life and death. Bastet, the goddess of home, fertility, and childbirth, patron of women's secrets and cats, is the daughter of Ra, sister of Sekhmet, wife of Ptah, and mother to Mihos. The start of her cult is dated around 2700 BCE. Back then, she used to be depicted as a lioness, and because of that, was very often associated with another goddess, Sekhmet. In some parts of ancient Egypt, the two of them were even worshipped as one. Thanks to her close relationship with cats, Bastet became very important to Egyptians, and later on was pictured as a woman with a cat's head. Egyptians worshipped their pets, especially for protection of crops and people from rodents that not only destroyed the harvest, but were also distributors of diseases. Goddess Bastet was then a caring protector, saving humans and other gods from predators. It was believed that Bastet accompanied her father, Ra, every day during his work of pulling the sun through the sky. She was watching him, ready to protect at any moment. At night, she used to change into a cat in case of an attack by her father, Ra's deadly enemy, the serpent, Apep. Due to her duties, she was named All-Seeing Eye and Goddess of the Rising Sun. Later in mythology, Bastet becomes a sister to Sekhmet and marries Ptah. Hathor, the goddess of sky, love, women, and fertility, is often strongly associated with motherhood. She was a very important deity in Egyptian mythology, mostly depicted as a cow or a beautiful woman with a cow's head. As a daughter of the sun god, Ra, she took on the title the Eye of Ra, which meant that one of her many roles was being her father's defender. She was a patroness of cosmetics. Wearing makeup in ancient Egypt was tantamount to worshipping Hathor, and of different kinds of minerals, one in the desert. That's where her title, Lady of Turquoise, comes from. Additionally, Hathor was called a goddess of beauty, music, dance, and joy. Her cult dates back to around 3,000 years BCE, which makes her one of the oldest deities of ancient Egypt. Hathor's roles and titles have changed many times over the centuries. She started as a bloodthirsty deity and was released by Ra to destroy humanity. The sun god was furious because people forgot about worshipping their gods and became very selfish. And so, Hathor started to teach mortals a lesson by killing and destroying everything in her path. In that moment, she transformed into the goddess Sekhmet. The terror continued until other gods reacted, seeing mankind's destruction, and talked to Ra. The sun god realized things went too far and, to stop Sekhmet from further slaughter, he gave her strong red beer to drink, prepared by the goddess Tenenet. Sekhmet drank it all, thinking it was human blood, and passed out right after. She woke up later as Hathor, the benevolent goddess, a complete opposite of Sekhmet. Humankind was saved, and from now on worshipped Hathor as a deity of joy and love. Maat is the daughter of Ra, wife of Thoth, and the goddess of balance, truth, and justice, as well as the concept of cosmic order itself. According to Egyptian mythology, Maat was created in the very beginning from the power of the god Ra and the invisible Hathor, who was magic personified. The sun god created the world while standing over Nun, the primordial water from which Ra himself arose before, with invisible Hathor by his side, and in that exact moment, Maat came to life. Ancient Egyptians took the goddess very seriously. She rose from the waters of chaos and symbolized law, harmony, morality, and justice. As a deity, she was responsible for regulating stars, seasons, and the actions of humans and gods themselves. Depicted as a woman with wings, Maat never had any temples built in her name. People built her shrines in other gods' temples instead, because Maat was responsible for the existence of all, mankind and deities. So every house of worship was her home too. But, truth be told, Maat was more of a concept than an actual character. Egyptians believed that everyone is responsible for their own actions, and, in the end, all good and bad deeds will be weighed. We already know a ritual conducted by the underworld god Anubis in the Hall of Judgment, where a heart of a person is weighed against the white feather of truth. A soul can move forward to the afterlife only when the deceased person's heart is balanced with the feather. This shows us how important the presence of Maat was in ancient Egypt. Order and justice had an amazing influence on humans' actions, because without living according to the laws of Maat, there was no chance to live after death. The concept of balance and harmony helped to build a very strong sense of morality in ancient Egyptians. Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, moon, and magic, is also considered the husband of the goddess Seshat, goddess of books, libraries, and librarians, who shared his responsibilities for writing. Thoth was credited with the creation of many branches of knowledge: science, philosophy, writing, law, magic, and religion. He was also a patron of scribes and an infallible judge. This last quality of his was the reason why Thoth was conducting the judgment of souls, together with Osiris. In his A'an form, a dog-faced baboon or a man with a baboon's head, Thoth stood with the Lord of the Underground. His assignment was to note all verdicts of judgment and write down which soul was permitted to enter the afterlife. If any of the dead feared not passing the judgment safely, they had a right to ask Thoth for help. Just like it is with every other deity, there are many myths about where or who Thoth came from. One says he simply self-created, another that he was born from the lips of Ra. There is also one explaining that the wisdom god came from the forehead of Seth and later was a mediator in his fight for power with Horus the Younger and Osiris. As a scribe, he recorded events of the battle. As a god of medicine, he cured both sides many times to ensure a fair fight for everyone. It was believed that Thoth was a creator of the written word for humans and gods. Recording history, laws, and even everyday events was possible thanks to the god of writing. Thoth was also responsible for guiding and helping other deities, resolving some minor conflicts, writing new laws, and enforcing them. As a god of the moon, he had celestial duties as well, and replaced Ra in the sky at night. Egyptians depicted Thoth as a man with the head of an ibis bird, often holding an ankh, symbol of life, in one hand and a scepter, symbol of power, in the other. Worship of Thoth was quite huge. He was one of the people's favorite gods. As a matter of fact, even in today's culture, Thoth is one of the most recognizable deities of ancient Egypt. Those are all main deities of ancient Egyptian pantheon. Stay with us if you want to learn about more of them. There are more videos coming soon. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe buttons. See you soon!